So we have established that there is value potential here, and you want to move on with looking at a system. So then I want to know, if money wasn't the limit, what are the things in your business that would be really nice if you could automate or get into a system or fix for some reason, somehow? Yeah, as I mentioned, the entire process is in a spreadsheet or multiple spreadsheets today. And there's a spreadsheet for each week, for each category of clothing that we send to our suppliers. It would be nice to kind of get an overview of all the orders that we have, because right now it's kind of a mess with all the Excel files lying around in different folders. You don't really get an overview of how much work we have ahead of us and how many orders and if we will cover the costs. So it's a bit hard to plan. Yeah, it sounds like we have a few more features that could be relevant for your business. Yeah, if you could get the existing data into the system as well, that would be wonderful, because then we can track some historical reports. Yeah, we would prefer that, because that puts some data in the database and visualizes, so you can see that the system actually handles the data the way you expect it. So I think that's a good idea. Is there anything else that you just would love to have in the system? Which nice features? Think outside the box here, just dream. One thing that is important is, if not all clothes are ready at the same time, it would be nice if the customers could checkbox or something that says that they want the finished clothes delivered before the rest of the clothes, or if they want everything delivered in one package. Of course, it will increase the cost to deliver twice, but not that much. We could actually make it work. Yeah. Another thing is, email would be really nice to have in the system, so we could not only send them newsletter, but also follow up after 6 months to see if they're happy with their purchase, and kind of remind them at the same time that we are still here, we can make new clothes. But that's more of a nice to have. One of the important things that we would like to track is if there's enough stock in the warehouse and there's enough fabric, buttons, thread to produce the clothes we have in the order. But it could be a bit tricky since we're not using our own warehouses. But at least get that information out there somehow for the suppliers. How do you measure threads? In meters or in boxes? Or? Meter, just as the fabric. I mean, in the warehouse, do you have X amount of meters of thread, or do you have 10 boxes of, like, say, green thread, 5 boxes of blue thread? Not that we need to go into such details right now, but it's more for me to get an idea of some of the details, so that I know how to set up the systems from the beginning, so we don't have to change as much when we progress the development of the system. So it's just good to know. Oh yeah, I have to talk to the suppliers about that, because I have limited insight into their warehouses and they have other customers. Yeah, okay. Then it's not really our problem. Then we should, for that part, we should probably focus on making sure we have clear reports that they can look at, where they can see how much of each product is demanded in the upcoming orders, so they can manage their warehouse and how much stock they have of each. Today we get everything delivered to the store, and then the customers come and pick it up here. But since I want to use the web shop more, I would like to have a delivery directly to the customer, or at least nearby. So yeah, there are some options there. Yeah, probably a few services we should look at. It's always a question of how much time versus how much money you want to spend. So if you want to do it yourself, you could probably save some money, but you have more work to do. And if you let someone else do it, then you're paying someone else to do that work. So that's the regular trade-off. But I'll keep an open mind and make sure that the system is flexible enough to manage both of those options. So we don't have to decide anything right now. But I think I got enough now for making a rough estimation based off my experience and what you're describing. I can kind of get this gist of what kind of system you want. So let's talk more about this next week, and I'll give you a few samples and some estimations. Yeah, often when we sit down and have a conversation about the project and what it's supposed to do, you have a rough idea of what features should be there, what data it should contain, and who should be able to do what. So you can kind of roughly scratch some things together, and then we can go back and do brainstorming and go deeper in some details when we start to build the application. But most of the time that's quite enough to just have a rough picture of what direction we're going, and then build some kind of prototype that matches that direction. And then we can add on all the new features and ideas that come after that. So it doesn't really have to be that complicated, and you don't have to specify every single detail from the beginning. And then we go from there. See you next week. Bye bye.